Hey there, welcome back to Yoga for Dentists, where we explore the high performance habits and wellness strategies that help dentists stay centered, focused, and enjoying life and work. I'm your host, Dr. Josie Dovidio, longtime dentist, registered yoga teacher, and certified wellness consultant. And today we're talking about something that might ruffle a few perfectionistic feathers, and that's why your big goals might actually be backfiring. Yeah, I said it. I want to talk to you about the sneaky way that most high achievers unknowingly set themselves up for failure, not because they're not smart or not disciplined or not ambitious enough, but because they're working against their own biology. So if you've ever set a massive goal, something inspiring, and then you stalled out, like 2 weeks later, or maybe you found yourself in a fog of decision fatigue and overwhelm. Or maybe you've wondered why your motivation fades even when you really want the outcome, right? So this episode is going to give you some major insight. And at the end, I'm also going to invite you to my upcoming workshop, Mindfully Master Your Year, where we will dive deeper into this and actually design your goals in a way that your nervous system loves. All right, so the big problem is that too big of goals can backfire. And I know I'm saying something controversial here, but here's something that a lot of high achievers don't realize. When you set a goal that feels too big or unrealistic, your body literally works against you. Your biochemistry shifts into a stress response, even if you're excited about it. Cortisol rises and executive function slows down, right? So your focus starts to fade because your body's like, this feels kind of dangerous, right? Let's abort this mission. So you end up procrastinating, second guessing, or just burning out because you're trying to push through to this very big goal. Sometimes the goal is actually unrealistic, right? Again, not because you're not capable, but because you're chasing someone else's definition of success. Or you're trying to keep up with an invisible standard that doesn't actually fit your life. In fact, I have another episode called Redefining Success that you might want to check out, especially if you're starting to question whether the goals you're setting are truly yours, or are they just an inherited expectation dressed up as ambition. So check out that 10-minute episode by going to yogafordentist.net/52. All right, so what's the alternative? How do you pursue meaningful goals without triggering overwhelm or burnout? So the secret is to set nervous system aligned goals. When you're in the right physiological state, the exact same goal can feel possible, right? Even energizing. When you feel calm and safe and regulated, your brain becomes more creative. Your motivation comes back and your problem-solving skills kick in, right? So discipline feels doable, not dreadful, because that's really what goals are about, discipline. So this isn't about motivational quotes or forcing mindset, right? This is just biology, and it changes everything. All right, so let me tell you a quick story. One of my coaching clients, a dentist who was trying to grow her practice at the same time as start a family, came to me exhausted, right? Her goals felt inspiring on paper and totally doable, but her body was shutting down. So after an in-depth conversation, we decided not to scrap the goals, but we shifted the how, right? So we rebuilt from the inside out, starting with her nervous system. In just a short amount of time, she wasn't just making progress towards her goals, but she also felt really good doing it, energized. So her results were snowballing from this more centered space. Then I had another client, right? She participated in last year's Mindfully Master Your Year workshop, and she had this beautifully ambitious list of goals. But as she mindfully read through them, one of them just really stressed her out. So her shoulders tensed, her breath shortened, and she noticed that. And so we paused. And after some powerful questions, she realized that the goal wasn't even hers to begin with. This goal was based on someone else's pace, someone else's expectation of her life. And so she was able to recognize that and revise it into something still meaningful and still pretty big, but much more aligned with what she could realistically do in this season of her life. And that moment she changed that goal, that moment she realigned the goal to what she was really needing, her entire body relaxed. And that relief became her fuel to achieving her goal. So she actually achieved what she set out to do ahead of schedule. So she reached out to me saying, well, the last 2 months feel like a bonus now because I reached the goal that I had set that was in better alignment with my body. Now, I know some of you watching this are going to be like, well, then her goal wasn't big enough. Her goal wasn't, it wasn't a reach goal. And I get that line of thinking. There's nothing wrong with that. But if you are an overwhelmed, overworked, stressed out, on the verge of burnout dentist, setting these really high out there goals are not going to work in your favor. Your body is working against you. That's what I'm talking about here. All right. So if you are tired of white knuckling your way towards your goals, if you want next year to feel better while you're reaching higher, then I want you to join me for the Mindfully Master Your Year workshop. This is a live virtual experience, and we're going to reverse engineer your goals based on your nervous system and your natural energy cycles. We're going to create a clear plan that doesn't rely on willpower and hustling alone. And we're going to build momentum in a way that feels nourishing, not depleting. And you'll walk away with your goals and a strategy to actually follow through, right? So this is especially powerful for dentists who want to grow without burning out. So see the link in the description of this episode to get more information on that workshop. All right. So remember, it's not about shrinking your goals. It's not about setting super high goals. It's about seeing what actually belongs to you. Whether your goals are big or small, what matters most is how you support yourself in reaching them. Your nervous system isn't the obstacle. It's the vehicle to achieving your goals if you understand how to work with it. So let's make this the year you finally master your momentum mindfully. I can't wait to see you inside the workshop. Check the link in the description of this episode. And if you found this episode helpful, please share it with a dental friend, like the episode, subscribe to this podcast so you can be notified when new content airs. My mission is to change how we live our lives in and outside of dentistry. Be well.